Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another eMarketer Tech Talk, where we host amazing guests from all areas of media, ad tech, and martech. My name is Ethan Kramer Flood. I'm the principal forecasting writer here at eMarketer. Today, we'll learn how to turn your in-store activations into powerful first impressions that drive engagement and sales. I'm joined now by my special guest for today from Quad, Jamie McGarry, Vice President, Business Development. Hello, Jamie. Welcome.
Hi, Ethan. Thanks so much for having me.
We are glad to have you. Jamie has a great presentation for you all, and afterwards we'll open it up for questions about what you've learned. Please use the chat window to submit questions for the Q&A while she's talking, and also to communicate with your peers. With that, Jamie, take it away.
Okay, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this eMarketer webinar centered around the topic of being more proactive at retail by redefining your seasonality and amplifying your in-store success. As Ethan said, I'm Jamie McGarry, and I'm from Quad. I work in our business development team, leading strategy and growth for CPG clients as well as some of our retail clients. For those of you not familiar with Quad, we offer marketing and advertising solutions spanning everything from brand strategy to creative ideas to integrated media solutions, all the way through to execution and the manufacturing of these materials in-home, on-screen, in-store, and on-shelf. With over 250 current retail and CPG clients across food, beverage, spirits, household, personal, pet, and apparel, one of our deepest superpowers is activating in-store. And we have a one-source approach that helps us to serve more than 20,000 retailers and deliver more than 150,000 retail kits monthly. So with that experience in mind, here's what we'll cover today. Why activating in-store is still so important, looking at seasons in a more opportunistic way using tech, innovations, partnerships, etc. to your advantage. So let's get started. We all know that e-com saw a boom over the last decade, with sales increasing 800% since about 2010. But we witnessed the post-pandemic ritual of returning to in-store for physical purchases. And this is really where the magic happens, equating to $7 trillion in sales in physical retail stores versus, I hate to say it, a mere $1 trillion in online sales. This just punctuates what we know. Consumers crave tangible experiences. At least 50% of consumers stating they want to see, touch, and feel products before they actually buy them. And that stat highlights why in-store experiences are essential to a successful omni-channel strategy. Physical stores provide the sensory engagement and immediate gratification that online channels just can't replicate, creating a powerful synergy that drives both in-store and online sales. In fact, we know that the reason that many of the DTC and e-com brands that are thriving are doing so because they either offer a physical store location like Purple Mattress or Warby Parker, or they have a partnership in place that physically offers their products in store. Think Glossier or Harry's Shaving. We know that the in-store shopping experience gives brands the opportunity to do three things at a more intense level than any other channel: inform, inspire, and persuade. And that's because of the physical nature that these types of interactions allow consumers to have. In-store is a critical piece of any omni-channel approach, as this is where you make lasting impressions and build consumer bonds. Although there are a plethora of consumer journeys and touch points along the way, we know the significant impact that in-store activations can have. Even if the journey starts online, consumers are coming to the store to buy, and the majority of these trips are for planned purchases. However, they may be willing to entertain new brands or be convinced to make an impulse buy. With brand loyalty at an all-time low, think about how your signage, your messaging, or your in-store experience can influence that journey and really lead to different outcomes. Seasonality gives marketers a streamlined blueprint for creating these types of impactful experiences. The holidays are especially powerful at driving impulse purchase because they can tap into emotional associations, traditions, and a sense of urgency, making shoppers more receptive to well-placed cues and appealing displays. There's also more of a festive spirit and generous spirit, trying to find the perfect gift, creating the most welcoming environment for get-togethers, and also taking advantage of the best holiday sales, like I'm sure many of us are doing at this very moment. Although traditional seasons have limits, your strategy doesn't have to. So far, marketers have stuck to the traditional tent poles, driving purchase at a few key moments throughout the year. But if this really is the strongest and most bottom funnel piece of the omni-channel customer journey, it's time to double down on the seasonal strategies. Could this mean more work for you? Yes. Does it have to mean more investment? Maybe. Next, we'll talk through how to have a proactive retail strategy that maximizes impact without putting too much strain on you, your team, and your budget. So let's talk how to be most opportunistic when you think about seasons. For years, traditional seasonal calendars have looked like this as a way to make impact throughout the year. However, seasonality is no longer limited to fixed calendar dates. It's now about capitalizing on important moments and unexpected revenue opportunities. As timelines shorten and moments become more dynamic, in-store activations must adapt to stay ahead of evolving consumer trends. And today, there's an opportunity to revolutionize your seasonal calendar to look more like this, where seasons aren't limited to or centered around formal holidays. You now have permission to be bold enough to create your own to best fit your products. So rather than scrambling to embrace the trends of the zeitgeist, let's talk about how to authentically embrace moments across the calendar and make them your own. You need to be the cultural moment, and you can do that by not being afraid to seed change within that traditional calendar we just talked about. So how can you think about moments and seasons that are right for your brand? Let's look to culture. 65% of consumers agree that brands should recognize and authentically represent a range of cultures and lifestyles in their marketing and communications. Think pop culture, astrology, major events, they're all ripe for ideation and creative campaigns. Push yourselves to think outside the box and tie your brand to moments that resonate with your audience in the most authentic ways. But popular seasons or moments throughout the year can be crowded. So let's think about an example. Let's take Dry January, which is filled by a number of non-alcoholic and functional beverage brands. Instead, let's look to stand out within smaller moments. So recently, we've been able to find some white space for our clients to shift the conversation and claim other times of the year that they can capitalize on as their own seasonality. Something like Sober October, the time before the holidays when people start to overindulge, steering clear of the new year, new you, dry January messages that we're all used to by now. So to achieve this, a brand could design and implement an in-store end cap in maybe late September and call it Cheers to the New You Now. We also find white space for some of our other clients within the calendar and try to help them capitalize on existing moments of purchase intent. This here is an example of a brand leveraging a subculture or consumer passion point to extend the life of their in-store activations. We work with New Belgium Brewing, and we created an in-store display that tapped into the gaming culture, which is a major passion point for many of their consumers. In this activation, it can live longer in store and help extend their marketing dollars. Another thing we encourage you to do is maximize your own purchase data. Data is hiding in very unexpected places, and by analyzing spending trends over year, you can look for consistent peaks and layer on a seasonality or cultural moment that really makes sense for your brand. Another example of this could be an OTC brand, let's say, that notices an ongoing trend of cold medication purchases at the start of back to school versus the typical cold and flu season. The brand could launch an in-store activation maybe in August, say syncing back with back to school supply shopping for natural impulse purchases, avoiding the clutter of the more traditional season. So instead of reacting, which could lead to wasted resources and overburdened teams during very cluttered times of year, we recommend that you get ahead by planning for cultural moments within the calendar and the strategies we've outlined. And to predict success, use these strategies and tools we'll discuss next, which will help you develop effective, proactive, seasonal in-store plans. Marketers always want to know that what they're going to put out in market will be successful. So there are ways we can try to predict successful activations at scale. First, we have to understand what fuels the non-conscious decision-making process. There are several elements that influence purchasing decisions that you need to understand deeply through pre-market testing. These allow us to shape the in-store experience in a way that feels organic, yet maximizes engagement and ultimately influences buying behavior. Let's take visual cues. Everything from your design to your signage. What's going to stop shoppers in their tracks as they move through the store? This can be your packaging, this can be your branding, this really can be anything that you're putting out in the store. Then there's the power of instinct. 95% of purchase decisions are made subconsciously. So consider how you can move interest into action, maybe using promotional language or sales. Emotional resonance. Let's face it, big decisions are made with the heart. Is your marketing inspiring feeling? Using themes that make you want to say yes. I mean, we know that pets and babies are always tugging at heartstrings, but we're in the holiday season and the nostalgia themed partnerships are abundant everywhere. I'm sure many of you have seen the Grinch or Home Alone references in stores already. And subtle nudges. Shoppers are already in store. They're ready to spend. What cues will push them over to the finish line and home with your product? Think about marketing that is super contextually relevant. This image, for example, maybe a display with an ice cream ad and cookie ad either near the cooler or the cookie aisle could help make that purchase decision. And more seasons doesn't have to mean more scrambling. Find effective tools that lead to more actionable insights to deliver repeatable activations all year long. We believe there is power in pre-market testing to fully understand how the cues you are putting out in store will be received. We know that for many brands, in-store activations are a big investment and big expense, with the constant pressure of delivering and proving sales and ROI. Doing some work before you execute can help you save money and make a bigger impact in market. In order to effectively do this, you need to simplify pre-market testing into 3 phases: create, focus, and amplify. So, first step, let's talk about creating and ideating. Here you have the permission to get your hands dirty, to build, to explore ideas that your team has. Go all in. This also can be done using technology like store visualizers, like the one pictured here. And that can help you create models for your product in a more cost-effective way without wasting resources and necessary time. And the next step, we focus, using consumer input from focus groups, analytics, qualitative, eye tracking, and other research to hone in on the most compelling big ideas from your first step. Try to understand how the package design is going to be received, or what consumers are truly going to spend time on its shelf, or what they're understanding and reading from everything you're putting out on your labels. Use innovative research and technologies because they can help you hyper-focus your designs. Find out what works, what doesn't, and have more evidence-backed support to lead you into the next phase. And the final step is to execute and to amplify. Now that you're ready to produce, explore formats, innovations, technology, all of this will help you make the most impact to meet your goals and fit within your budgets. Efficiency and sustainability are on everyone's minds, especially when creating physical marketing pieces. So invest in products that are reusable and that can adapt and last from season to season. Our top example here is a llama display, which is very efficient and economical to produce, as well as extremely easy to install. And the bottom example is a more immersive display where the top can be changed out from season to season. Now you have your strategy coupled with information and insights to ensure you will be successful in your in-store activations. To sum up this section, don't activate on guesswork. Trial and error can be expensive and it can be costly for not only your budget, but your brand's reputation. And do use efficient and innovative testing tools that will allow you to fine-tune your in-store strategy and execution before it even hits the floor. There are also innovations available within the industry that can be taken advantage of. Brands are finding ways to merge creativity and technology in really interesting ways to meet the goals and objectives of their briefs. The example on the left is an interesting way to use an in-store display to help facilitate sampling and taste testing for one of our spirits clients. And the example on the right is how some clients are using flow codes, which are custom QR codes used to further engage consumers by pushing and pulling more information and data to customize their experience. So whether you want to share additional information regarding your brand's ingredients, values, mission, or sustainability investments, or maybe you want to deepen your CRM program and capture more consumer data. These are easy ways to better integrate omni-channel experiences. But I will caution having a partner that can think through these from start to finish is going to be super important. I don't know how many of you have seen the recent example. I think we just came out yesterday. Mattel is having a big recall on some toys for Wicked because their QR codes are not driving to the content they intended. We've seen that you can make innovation a big impact for you. There are new technologies and tools rolling out daily to support a more unique and compelling shopper journey. We found that a majority of adults are receptive to messaging, whether that be in, around, or even on their way to the store. One of the most innovative ways to message within the store and even the aisle itself is through in-store retail media networks. In fact, from our own research, 6 out of 10 consumers said they have purchased an item showcased in an in-store retail media format, like the digital screen seen here, or on cooler doors, or on television signage within the store. And the majority of those made purchases immediately on that shopping trip. Another innovation to consider, possibly for those of you in the fashion or apparel space, is AI lighting. Not only does this allow you to monitor foot traffic and dwell times, but it will adjust the actual lighting to better showcase your products by altering the hues and brightness based on customer flow. You can see here that the background lighting changes based on the color of the dress and the product on display. And we talked about seasonality being a challenge because of the number of unique assets and resources it requires when addressed as individual efforts. Well, if we looked at innovation and technology, we can find ways to double impact by helping to scale content and assets to be more reusable and extendable throughout the year. Specifically, automated 3D scanning is a new technology that allows us to create digital twins of products in order to leverage that photography and content in unique and different ways throughout the year. On the left is what traditional photography delivers, a static image that usually only serves a specific use case. But as we move to the right, you can see that with automated 3D scanning, we can now create a digital twin of a product that captures the exact and accurate physical and aesthetic attributes that can be used across formats and edited based on the desired color, lighting, or even angle. This type of technology has been embraced by footwear, fashion, and apparel brands for things like virtual try-ons. In fact, with many of our clients that we're employing this, we've seen a significant increase in add to basket rates and a reduction in return rates simply by using these models. So the challenge is you want to move fast to adopt new technologies as they emerge, but you don't want to be left scrambling. So don't wait. Innovation moves fast and you don't want to be last to the finish line. A simple solution can be smart partnerships. By choosing to collaborate with the right partners, they can take on a heavy lift and bring you some of the most innovative, distinct solutions in market right now. So let's take just a moment to talk about how to leverage strategic partnerships in the very best ways. As I said, your partners can be the lifeline to this industry, so ensuring you have the right ones is going to be very important. When you look at or evaluate partners to support your in-store activations, there are a few things to keep in mind, or shall I say, green flags to look for. Nearly half of marketing leaders say that partner complexity negatively impacts their marketing operations. So look for partners, like I said earlier, that have that 360-degree solution and experience all the way from strategy to design to fulfillment. Less handoffs means less errors. And we know that sustainability is on everyone's mind. 55% of marketers stating its importance and 55% saying they're concerned with the environmental impact of their product packaging. Therefore, you have to choose partners that are committed to sustainable production practices. And complexity in the number of assets and number of pieces of content that is required is at an all-time high. I don't think anybody can dispute that. So be sure that your partners can scale up or down based on your unique business needs. And be sure to engage partners with a history of bold and creative design in order to break through in store and gain the attention you are seeking. We talked about innovations in format and technology. In retail specifically, it's a must to capitalize on the future sales growth projections. Be sure that your partner has the right experience to shepherd you through this vast opportunity. Quad recently published an asset that each of you will receive with your webinar registration. And this can be used as a tool that you can rely on to help evaluate production partners as you move forward. So, in conclusion, let's do a quick recap. Our recommendations are to transcend the traditional seasonal calendar and holidays by leveraging data, consumer insights, and authentic moments. Put yourself on the front foot and predict when and how you can have the most impact with pre-market testing. Remember, create, focus, and amplify. Innovation equals impact and can help you remain agile and cut through the noise. And finally, there is power in the right partnership, helping to navigate all of the in-store opportunity ahead. So thank you very much. Now let's take some time for Q&A.
All right, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing all those great insights. I will never look at the inside of a store the same way again, or I should say, now I know what to look for. So we did get a whole bunch of questions while you were talking. So let's just dive right in, if that's okay.
Sure.
So first one, when looking at your own purchase data to find new seasonal opportunities, how do you validate what the data is telling you?
Well, I think when you look at seasonality and you look at data, I think you have to look at it holistically. You cannot look at it individually or in silos because there might be other factors driving what you're seeing. So, as I said, if you look over a period of years and quarters, I think that's your first thing. Look for trends, but then also you want to look to your consumers. So, any of the testing or research, just stay close to the consumers and the insights that you're gaining there, and I think that'll help be more spot on for when you're in market.
Hmm. And we got a sustainability one here I want to get to. So how can you keep tabs on your brand's sustainability mission when doubling your in-store activations?
I think it boils down to partnership. Um, to have the right partners in place and to ensure that you have transparency, not only in your goals, but what is being created, I think is going to be key. You want to look for partners, as I said in one of the earlier slides, that's going to be sustainably minded and bring you low waste solutions. So reducing plastics, more environmentally friendly. And then also, like we talked about, a partner who can help you extend throughout the year and thinking what that means for your activations, I think is going to be very important as well.
Gotcha. Another real straightforward one here for you. What role do pop-ups play in seasonality?
Pop-ups, especially now, right? I think we're starting to see a lot of them. I think pop-ups are great. They're number one, a great way to test without implementing a long-term strategy or execution. It's a quick way to get in market and get some reaction, but it's also great for driving sales quickly. You know, it drives urgency, exclusivity. I see it with my kids on TikTok and what they see, and they have to have it now. So I think to think through it in the right way for your brand, we've seen some great examples lately. I think La Roche-Posay, they've got a strong partnership with the US Open, and they did a great activation this year where they showed up with their sunblock products because it's an outdoor sport, but they also had dermatologists on site to give evaluations. And so they're planning to extend that even longer. I think that's a great kind of pop-up. And I think we all know that Target really takes over seasonality and cultural moments well, not only front of the store, but throughout. So those are just a few examples as well.
Yep. Got that. Another one. What if your team is stretched thin and you don't have the bandwidth to adopt new innovations in-house?
I'm going to go to partnerships again on this one. Number one, I think if you have the right partners in place, you can rely on them for overflow support and to lean on in a heavier way. But I will also say, I think technology is a huge component of being more efficient with everyone's time. And so whether that's automation, AI, or other technologies, it's not, I think at this point, not there to replace anyone, but to help us make all be more efficient and effective. So we should rely on it in that way.
Got it. Got it. Just a couple more here. Why is it important to identify authentic seasons versus cultural trends?
Well, I think it goes back to authenticity, right? So, what is going to be true to not only your brand, your mission, your values, but also your products? What is the need you're filling, right? And so, if you can look at it in with that lens, I think it allows you to focus and be more successful when you are in market. I also think it provides a staying power, right? It's not just a blip on the map that people are going to forget, especially when you can tie that into other activities that you've got going on in your marketing or omni-channel experiences. I think it makes it all that much more relevant and authentic.
Nice. Okay, I got a long one here for you. Bear with me.
Okay.
So, co-branding, retail media networks, and co-ops seem to be the way of the future if you want to harness first-party audiences where sharing or audiences no longer can take place. Do you think large brands will start to merge to enhance CRM audiences, or do you think we will just see a rise in strategic investments? Hopefully, I read
Probably,
that right.
probably both. I think I agree. I think the first party data is what we're all trying to get to, and there are a myriad of ways to do that. So exploring the right ways for you and your brand is going to be key. I don't think there are any big wholesale moves to be had at the moment as we continue to navigate this, but I think probably it's a little bit of both.
Great. And then this, I think, is the last one here. Can you share any more about using in-store to gather first-party data?
Sure. I think there are a myriad of ways that we can start to do that. I think technology, leaning on technology is a great way to do that. You know, whether it's the flow codes we talked about and a scan to either have a deeper experience or gain more information that can allow you to get more data from your consumers. As we saw with some of the examples here, retail, the in-store media networks. I think that's going to be a really great way to do that as well. Again, to deepen the experience and start to gather some more data in ways that we're using technology. So I think we're on the cusp of seeing a change in the industry where we can get closer to doing that.
Awesome. Jamie, thank you again for this great content and for answering all these questions from our audience. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This was great.
Awesome. So that's it. Before we wrap up, let me take a moment to tell everyone about eMarketer's media channels. Please do visit emarketer.com to register for upcoming live analyst and tech talk webinars like this one, and sign up for our newsletters as well. And also, don't forget to tune into Behind the Numbers, our daily podcast, which, by the way, I'm on sometimes, so you can catch me there. And you can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts. Keep an eye on your email for the link to today's playback. And of course, feel free to contact us if you have any other questions. Thank you all for your time. Thanks again to Jamie, the whole team at Quad. Thanks to our eMarketer studio team that was behind the scenes making this webinar possible. And we will see you all on the next Tech Talk.